Welcome to Small Business Rally Point for a Monday. This is our weekly meeting for the Idea Collective for small business owners. And if you don't know about the Idea Collective, we are a select group of driven small business owners. And we know that when we collaborate, we're going to go further together than if we take on the world by ourselves. And our members are committed to help one another because when we work together, we have an unfair advantage in the marketplace. So thank you for joining us. I'm the founder of the Idea Collective, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Now, today's show is going to be fast and fun and full of fireworks because we're talking with Amber Swenor of Soul Seed. And our subject is fire your clients to grow your business. Fire your clients to grow your business. Trust me, there's a point here. And we have a few announcements that we want to share later on in the show, but let's get down to the good stuff. Let's meet Amber. Amber is a brand strategist guiding rebel-spirited business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders to tap into their authenticity to build profitable businesses rooted in purpose. She's the founder of Soul Seed, an award-winning brand strategy, marketing, and coaching firm that partners with clients to strategically grow their businesses through business coaching and marketing services. Well, Amber, it's great to see you. How was the weekend?
Hello.
How have you been?
The weekend was fabulous. I'm great. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here with you.
I'm glad you're here because with a title like Fire Your Clients to Grow Your Business, that leaves me scratching my head. So that's an odd way to go about it. Why would someone want to fire a client? That seems counterproductive.
Right. And so it's really what it's about is alignment. So I have an upcoming trip to Mexico and they just contacted me and said, we think you want to rebook because there's a lot of really smelly seaweed on the beach. And that's exactly the point we're getting at when we talk about, it's not about running out and firing your clients, but it's about making sure that you're serving the right aligned clients and doing the right thing, because it's actually going to play out better for you in the long run with repeat business, testimonials. You're going to have greater joy. And so that just happened about an hour ago. And I thought, how perfect is that of the example of what we mean by this, where that company, I'm sure they could use the business, especially since tourism has been affected, but they just were transparent and said, we don't think this is going to be very pleasant for you. So we'd like to let you find somewhere else to stay. And so that's what we mean when we're talking about letting a client go. It's when it's actually causing you more headaches and maybe isn't in their best interest either. And it's no longer an ideal alignment for your business.
Would you think that that's a more mature business owner thing to do, to have the courage to say, this isn't going to work out? Like, do you think some of the newer entrepreneurs just might stick with all the clients they can get their hands on?
Yeah, I think a lot of us go through that phase. We kind of need to learn by doing, but the sooner that you can embrace that and be more strategic with your brand strategy, really the better it is, the easier it is to grow, scale, whatever your goals are. But the theory is that the more aligned that clients are, the happier that you are, the happier that they are, the longer they'll stay, the more they'll spend, the more that they'll refer. And a lot of times when we're newer in business, we want to try and serve everyone and do all the things, but actually that can have us running around doing a whole bunch of services. Then it's really not as profitable, and it can really chip away at our joy as well. Because we always look at things, looking at passion, profitability, positioning. It's all three of those things. And it's really about owning your genius in the market. The more you narrow your message, the wider it actually goes.
And you're talking my love language right there. I could interview you for 3 weeks about that stuff because I love talking about that stuff. But let's stay on this concept of getting rid of a bad client. So how do you know if you have a bad client? When does it start to ring alarm bells that we might need to make a change?
Yeah. Well, the positive side of me says there's no bad client. There's no bad human. They just might not be the right fit for you. And so I just encourage anyone that's hearing this to, if you recognize that every time you're having that conversation, if it's building frustration, if you feel like you're running circles and the client's never happy, it's not about butting heads on who's right and who's wrong, but it's about helping that client find the next place that's the better fit. And I've seen this time and time again with myself and with other clients, that sometimes the amount of energy and time that's going into trying to make someone happy, it's not that they're necessarily bad. It's that there's somewhere along the line has been a miscommunication around expectations, around the services, or maybe you're really just not the right solution for that client. And so there is that element of trust involved that when you do the right thing for people, it actually comes back to benefit you and them in the long run. And so to answer your question about, I believe you asked how to go about it. Was that the question?
Yeah. How do you know when there's a bad client fit and how do you go about it? Yeah.
Yep. It's that when it's causing more angst than it's worth. And it can be really positive to help introduce them to others who could be the right fit. And it's not that it's like, oh, I'm just trying to give you a bad client. It's that someone else may have a different style. They can reset the stage with new expectations. They just might be the right next step for where that client's at in their journey.
Let's go back to something you just said. You were talking about narrowing your message and opening up your opportunities. Because again, that goes back to the counterintuitive nature of marketing and positioning a small business. I find that when people start out, they start out really wide. They want to help everybody with everything. And then when they go about what you're talking about, aligning what they do in a narrow audience, all of their opportunities open up. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, there's a few ways you can narrow. It can be based on the specific services and or specifically, the geography you serve and or the type of clients. And so it's whatever path you feel really clear on. Well, we know we serve these kind of people really well with this kind of service, or we know that we rock the heck out of this service. And the more that you narrow in on that, the easier it is to become known for that. The easier it is for people to refer. The easier it is when someone meets someone that's looking for that exact thing or they're that exact. So we call this your brand, right? This is what you become known for in the market. It's what people start to say about you when you're not in the room. And you want that to be really clear so that people understand how to make a referral to you, right? If someone's like, you need help with your business ideas, go to Pat. You need help with this element, go to this person. This element, go to this person. So if you could think of what that one thing is that you would want anyone to be able to refer to you, the more you can narrow your messaging around that, the easier it is for that to grow and expand and you become known for it. And it's really great to talk to your audience and your customers and see what they say, because they're the ones that help tell us what everybody knows us for. So they can really inform your messaging.
Yeah, when I asked around, people kept on saying devastatingly handsome business coach. So that's how I go. That's what I run. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, hey. But yes, talking to folks is a great way to do it. And when we're narrowing down our message, is that also sometimes leading to the identification of which clients are good fits and which ones aren't as we continue to narrow in the things that we should be doing with our life?
Absolutely, because the more you speak that from your values, the guiding principles, the more that, this is something that a lot of people can be a challenge to get comfortable with, and me as well. The more you're narrowing, you're also repelling. And when we were going through our rebrand, someone said, he didn't use the word divisive, but it was a word like that. He said, oh, it's really good because this is divisive. It was a similar word. And for a moment I had to pause, but then I recognized, no, that is true. That is positive, because we're clear on the kind of goal-oriented, strategic business owners who really believe in starting with passion as a place that grows their profits. And so the other people who don't think like that, we're really not a good fit for them. So the more that you lead with those values, the clearer it is to attract people who fit with that. You don't need to be all things to all people. And this just makes this journey a lot easier of alignment. So you don't have to fire a bunch of clients later when you're speaking those values up front.
For sure. And you mentioned talking to some of the clients that you're already working with or people you've already helped to try and identify that zone of genius. Any other guides or tips on how we can boil things down to the parts of our business that get us excited in what we want to do with our life?
Yeah, there's this really great exercise. You can make 4 columns. It's a concept called Ikigai. There's a book about it. So you make a list of all the things that you or your company are really good at. You make a list of all the things that you or your team you really enjoy. I love some people here pulling out their marker board. They're doing the work. You make a list of all the things the world needs, and then make the list of all the most profitable. And so this can really help you bring into alignment. This is what I'm good at. This is what I love. This is our impact. Here's where we make the most money. It's simple and it it works, because we've had clients sometimes focusing on just because they're good at something, but they really didn't like it anymore. And underneath, energetically, they were repelled, they were pushing people away. They were having sometimes problems with clients because they didn't actually like what they were doing anymore. And so you want to look for that place of alignment. Sometimes we do the thing that's the most profitable, but we reach a point in life where we really want to tune in with our passion. So if you can look for the alignment between those 4 things, that can really help you recognize where to zero in for your business.
We're talking with Amber Swenor from Soul Seed. If you have questions for Amber, get them in the chat now because we only have a few minutes left with her. So let's make sure that we're talking about the results of all this. Because when you see the headline of this show, fire your clients to grow your business, you know, and then you hear us talk, it might be, I'm not really sure if that's for me. Can you share a success story or two about some folks you've seen go through this process to let go of clients that were no longer a fit and how their business changed afterwards?
Yeah, so there's a small local bakery cafe, and she's given us permission to share their story, Rosie's Cafe. And when COVID happened, they were almost going to shut their doors completely permanently. So what we did was zeroed in on what's your passion, your profitability, your positioning, and they really pulled back on serving food. So where this got them is they're now open half the amount of hours that they were before COVID. And they still have challenges, but they're doing close to the same revenue, which means they're now more profitable. And they really narrowed in on doing more of what they do better than anyone. And that's cakes and giant made from scratch cinnamon rolls. And that's an example where that was scary for them, where they had been used to all the walk-in traffic that would buy coffee and food. But when we looked at it, that was an opportunity to scale, become known for something, and zero in on. If you can look at your passion, profitability, and positioning, your positioning of your brand strategy, that's really the trifecta of where you find that sweet spot. And that meant that they had to let go clients who were kind of comparing their cake prices to the other grocery stores down the street. That meant raising their prices. It meant letting go of clients who were bummed that they were no longer available for lunch, on Mondays and Tuesdays. However, it increased demand and excitement for the days that they are open. And it really creates more of that special experience when you kind of take something away and you make less of it available, the perceived value of it goes up.
That's a brilliant story, and thank you for sharing it. Let's talk about this process of getting our business better positioned, and sometimes that means maybe referral partnerships. I'm sure you've had to build those before. What are some ideas and strategies so we can find someone that does what you don't want to do and doesn't want to do what you do, and then you two can become real referral partners and move forward? How would you advise someone go about doing that?
Absolutely. Get your power partners. And, we navigated this as an agency that offers a number of services. And while we've zeroed in more and more on the zone of genius around the brand strategy, we have referral partners for some of the components of digital marketing that's executed. And when you refer, people refer back to you. You can even set up affiliate marketing, a referral program. And I believe that the world continues to become more and more collaborative focused, and especially if you want to narrow in and really be an expert in something specific. It's so beautiful when you can have those referral partnerships. You can save money on what you're putting in outbound marketing. Yes, we do advertising for clients, but I'm all for how do you use your dollars the smartest. And I grew my business to almost $1 million before we started even spending on digital ads. And a lot of that was because of our referral partners. So, find those power partners. You don't need tons of them, but if you have a few that you really refer back and forth, it can be really helpful.
Well, both of those concepts are a little bit, I don't want to say outside the box, but they're not super commonplace, where let's find someone that I can just give business to knowing that business will come back to me. And that's really smart. And the other one being, there are just some clients, even though they'll give you their money, they're not a fit for you to help you get to where you want to go. So both of those concepts are great. And I'm glad that you shared them today. Is there anything else about this topic that you want to get into about finding the right clients, providing the exact service that supports why you're on the planet? Because it's such a valuable topic and you're clearly an expert in it. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, take time, and whatever time you have, whether it's quarterly or once a year, and do the step back on the bigger vision of your brand strategy. It's extremely valuable. A lot of small businesses struggle with it because it's playing the long-term game. And we're so focused on what do I need to do this week and next week to generate the revenue. However, if you can do that step back, see the bigger vision, this is why we exist in the world. This is who we serve. This is what we're amazing at. That gives you all the direction for what should you be talking about? What should you be putting in your ads, putting in your content, on the forms that people submit on your website if they should buy things from you, or if they're coming in to have a consult, but you can better tell if they're the right fit. So you can Google it, check out our website if you're looking for, well, what's brand strategy, but it helps wrap it all in a bow, because as we know, people buy brands. A brand gives you value, longer term value, makes you more expansive. And the more you understand that, the easier it is to have that kind of growth.
You also offer a bunch of on-ramps for people to start learning from you and developing their brand strategy. You've got a big thing coming up in September. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so it's Ignite Your Brand. So there's two ways people can work with us. One is where you work with our team and we work one-to-one pretty intensely, but a lot of businesses, they do well in a group cohort, and it has a much less of the price tag from doing it one-to-one. We have about 10 business owners that come through a time. Rosie's was one of them, where she started with that, and then it subsequently led her on this, growth trajectory. And I'll drop the link in the chat, but it's Ignite Your Brand. We started at the end of September, and through that 12 weeks, you get really clear on what is your strategy for growth, what's your passion, profit, and positioning. So you can really stay laser focused on that and walk away with the output on how to talk about what it is you're offering and have it tied to clear revenue goals so that your growth is aligned. We're all about alignment. I believe that you should be able to enjoy the journey while also serving people and make great money. And so we don't want to leave any of those elements out of that.
So many things you're talking about is in direct alignment with what we're doing here at the Idea Collective. So keep doing what you're doing, because we are samesies. So it's fantastic to hear what you're up to. The course in September sounds, or cohort in September sounds like a great opportunity. Make sure you put it in the chat. Amber Swenor, brand strategist and business coach for Soul Seed. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good times. All right, friends. So let's move on with a couple of announcements that we've got to do. We've got a new announcement about the Idea Collective retreat happening in November down at Grand Geneva Resort. We are announcing a series of pre-conference events. And our first pre-conference event, which is open to all, even if you're not registered, is next Monday at 11 a.m. And it's a good one. And it's a good one for two reasons. First, it's incredible content. And two, the folks that are coming on stage came up with the idea. So what we're doing is we're doing a Women in Business panel next Monday at 11 a.m. And the reason why it's so cool is that all four of our panelists are our sponsors for the event, and they're all members of the Idea Collective. So we're going to have Susan Trumpler, Megan Schwann, Talmar Anderson, and Cheryl Litvin come on and host a conversation with you about issues that women in business face. They want to talk about, are you dreaming big enough? Are you embracing risk? Are you acting with urgency? Are you making an impact? And are you really owning it and making it as big as you can be? So it's a roundtable discussion that they want to have with you. It's our first pre-conference event. And the concept is, let's create some programming like we're going to have at the retreat so you can learn about what's going on and then maybe consider joining us November 5th through the 7th at the Grand Geneva Resort. So the event next Monday, 11 a.m., free and open to all. Click the link that's inside the chat and learn from the women from the Idea Collective. It's going to be awesome. Speaking of women in the Idea Collective, another event next week is going to be our monthly night school event. This time it's free. We're going to welcome Abby Miller from Stories Frame Photography. She is an expert at converting business from her email newsletter. So if you're racking your brain to make sure your newsletters connect and you're really writing stuff that your audience cares about, Abby does a great job of it, and she's going to teach a course on how you can write a better email newsletter to your subscribers. That event is next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. We call it Night School. So sign up for that event at the link that's in the chat as well. If you're not a member of the Idea Collective community yet, well, you can fix that thanks to our friends at Bank 59. Their generous support of the community is helping us do great big things. They'll give you 1 free year in the group. Just hit bank59.com/Idea Collective and you're in. We're also supported today by Quick Trip. Make your next trip quicker by ordering ahead to the hotspot for your favorite item. Get the app, order ahead, Quick Trip at Quick Trip. Get it? Download the app today. Big thanks to Amber for coming on, and thank you for tuning in. Look for all of this juicy content from the Idea Collective on our YouTube channel. It's simply youtube.com/Idea Collective. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. That's it for today's Small Business Rally Point. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.